Hey guys, welcome back to the next video in our web scraping in Python series. In this video, we will talk about query parameters. So when you see a website and the link to which it directs you, probably if you are looking for some book, then you generally see some query parameters like the name of the author with space or a question mark. Those query parameters we can pass in our request library in order to fetch the information we are looking for via web scraping, and that actually help in getting our work easier. So let's move to my desktop and see how practically we can address the problems coming up when web scraping happens, and we can use query parameters to solve that. So first of all, I'll begin by showing you what is actually a query parameter and how does it look like. So let's go to my desktop and I will go to Amazon and I'll show you how exactly it's look like. So let's go to amazon.com and I'll just increase the size for you. So I'll go for book, and now in books I'll click on any of the book. So let's go for this one, and here if you see this question mark, so it is a query parameter. Forward this, there are more information related to the book and the link and the title. Similarly, if I'll go for something else, you can also see question mark here, which is again a query parameter. So this is how actually query parameters look like, and let's go to my VS Code. I'll start a new file and show you how exactly we can pass query parameters. So I'll just save this first as query parameters testing, and I'll also take you to one more URL from where exactly we are going to fetch the information. So I'll just write it down. So we will be using Coinbase portal, and Coinbase portal is open in domain of public in order to get the exchange rates of different currency, and we will be going to fetch information about Bitcoin. So if you can see, what I have written is this URL, and I'll just press enter to show you what information here. So this contains the information related to Bitcoin, and I am going to fetch this information via my request library. So basically this is a web link and I am going to fetch it from my request library. So let me go to my VS Code back and I am going to write the codes now. So I am going to pass this URL here. Next I am going to import the request library. So I'll write import requests as R. I have given the name to basically your request library so that it gets easier for us. Now I'll write RESP the function, and I'll say request to get URL so that it can actually create a link between the request library and the URL. I'll just check whether this is working or not. So I'll write RSP status code. Now we will see whether this is working or not. So I should get to 1 second. Oh, this should be dot. Yeah. So I should get 200 now. We got 200. So this is working. The link has been established. First of all, I'll make this as a comment. And now what I'll do, I'm going to print the JSON we are getting. So I'll write print RSP dot JSON, and let's see. So we are getting all the information which we actually saw in this browser also. So we are getting this information. Now we have to fetch. So I'll first of all make this as a comment too, so that they don't get printed again and again when we run the query. So now I'll write print resp dot json, and here what I'm going to write, I'm going to pass the first thing you see here, which is your data and rates in the currency. So I'll write data, and next I'm going to write rates, and then I'm going to write USD. So I'll run this. Let's see what happens. Okay, this should be in capital USD. All right. So what I have fetched, I have fetched the rate of Bitcoin from the set of data. This is how exactly we send request to URL and then ask it to print whatever we would like to have as an information. Now there is more important thing to it. So if I want to pass parameters, like earlier we are using resp r2get.url. Now what I'll do, I'll just take this and put it here, and this time I am going to pass parameters. So I'll just write prams, and I'll put currency, and in currency I'm going to write Bitcoin, so BTC. Okay, this should also be like this. Okay, now my response function is getting the URL, and I need to mention to it that I have also given some parameters. So I'll write prams, and I have also given the name to variable as prams, so the same thing, and I will run this. So okay, so I think this should be coming after this because I have mentioned parameters and then in some sequence. So yeah, so we got the Bitcoin rate again, that is coming to be 38776, and earlier also we are getting, so there are little bit of difference because the rate changes every second for Bitcoin, but this is how exactly you do. So what exactly happens is, when we look through a link like the one we looked through when we were working with Amazon, we have a question mark, sometimes spaces come in between, and these spaces and question mark, they have to be encoded. Now the power of the our request library is it encoded the spaces and your ampersand sign on its own. So what you just have to do is you just have to pass the parameters, and if you are successfully passing the right parameters, you will be able to get the required information. I'll show you one more example from a live website how exactly it is fetching. So let's move to that website. So let us comment everything out here, and let's visit to the URL which actually has the required set of things. So I'll write here a URL which contains the information about sunrise and sunset in New York. So I'll write the address of the websites. First of all, we'll see the website, and then we will request our library to fetch the information for us. So I'll write sunrise sunset.io, and this is what it is. It is sunset and sunrise times API, and in order to fetch anything from this URL, what required is your latitude, longitude, and date is optional, time zone is optional, and date start is optional, date end is optional. So only latitude and longitude are required, and it has shown us an example of it. So we'll use the example only so that we get a New York time location, sunrise and sunset. Okay, so we will go back to our VS Code and we will create this. So what I'll write URL because I need to fetch this, and I'll just write. Okay, so I need to put API instead of this, and I have to write some just, and this has to be JSON, so that the information which we saw there, longitude, latitude required, that information we are passing here. Now we have this. We'll have to import this also. So I'll write import requests as R, and there should be a space here. Okay. Now I have given it a URL and I have asked import to request this. In addition to this, what I have to do, I have to pass this URL and I have to pass parameters also. And the only required parameters were latitude and longitude. So I'll create this function. I'll write param, and now I'll just add first the latitude. Let's go back to that URL and fetch the latitude. So it says this one is your latitude. I'll just copy this. We'll come back to our VS Code, put this up, and similarly we'll add the information for longitude. So it's going to be LNG, and now we'll go back here and we'll fetch this. So it's minus. We fetch this entire thing, and this is longitude and latitude information for New York Times. So that will what it will give us the sunrise and sunset time if this works. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a response, and I'll say R as a library should get URL with parameters, and we have named it as parameters only, so PARAMS. And now I will ask this to print. In fact, before printing, let's see whether it is running also or not. So let's ask for the status code first. So I'll write status code, and let's see if this is running, then we can proceed. It should be 200. Yeah, so it's running. Very good. And now what I have to do, I'll put print, and here I will ask resp.json, and I'll just have this. So this is going to give me the list, and it has given me the list for the sunrise and sunset and last night and whatever details it wanted to. Now I if I try to find out what exactly query coming up. So let's see. So I said that in the earlier video that whenever we hit something, browser send headers to it. So let's see what query browser is right now running with the query parameters. So let's see. So browser is doing what? It is saying JSON and then latitude and longitude of this location. So just directly, if I copy this here in the browser, what does it say? So see, it says the result is this. Similarly, that is the same result we are getting in our library. That is this result. So, so that is what actually the request library does. It fetches the information from the website without visiting the website if we know how exactly we can put parameters and how accurately we can put them up. Also, if I change longitude and latitude here, let's explore that case also. So let me go to this browser and find longitude of Delhi. So it says 28 degree, it says this. So I'll just copy this and put it here. Similarly for the longitude, I'll do the same thing, and now I'll run this. Said ampersand not allowed. Oh, this space is not allowed. We copied this space also. Let's see. So yes, it says sunrise at 6:58. Okay, it is giving us for Delhi also, and it's Asia Kolkata. So that's great, no? We can use longitude and latitude, and we can find out the timing for sunrise, sunset, golden hour, dusk, dawn, last night, every detail possibly we want to have. Yeah, I think that is all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.